I'm holding the Panasonic Lumix DMC FZ8. Now this camera is a 7.2 megapixel camera, and it has a lot of the features that you'd find in like a very expensive digital SLR, and it's a lot less money. And look how small it is. Plus the lens, it's got a Leica lens. You know, I was talking to a lot of different professional photographers. Some guys prefer one, some guys prefer the other, but they all agree that Leica is some of the best glass in the world. Now this lens also, it's 12x optical zoom. That's equivalent of over 400 millimeters. And it pulls back all the way to 36, but I mean really 400 millimeters zoomed in? That's crazy. Okay, now if you're an aspiring professional, if you're a student, if you're someone who likes a lot out of a camera, then you're really going to appreciate all the features that are on the back of this. Now come over here and take a look. Just like a lot of the other cameras, you have this wheel here. We get flash controls, timer. You can review the last picture. This is your exposure compensation. You can do +2 or -2 right here, even in auto modes. Now right up here, this is something that they started including with the FZ7, and I'm glad they left it in the FZ8. This is a little joystick, and this joystick allows you to adjust the exposure compensation, or this allows you to do manual focus, and that's much easier than having to click back and forth on these when you're doing manual focus. So that's very handy to have right there. Now this changes between your LCD and your electronic viewfinder there. Now inside that viewfinder, it looks a lot better than the FZ7. There's almost twice as many pixels as far as the view in there, so that's great for shooting outdoors and bright light, things like that. I use this, just to reduce my battery. Plus, it makes me feel more like a professional when I've got my head on the camera, just like a digital SLR. Let's take a look at the top. Now you see we've got this little heart. That is simple mode. Now when you're in simple mode, a lot of the functions and features on the back are gone, and when you go into the menu and you want to change, between some of your different modes, there's only a few options, so you can't get lost. Some of the buttons don't even work. Like that doesn't even work because it doesn't want you to get lost. So that's really cool. If you're changing hands between a novice and someone who knows what they're doing. You also have a lot of different scene modes. There's about 24. One of my favorites here in the scene modes, they've included something called a Starry Night mode. And that allows you to do up to a 60-second exposure, which is really cool for putting it on a tripod and getting some really dramatic shots. Have you ever seen those shots where the cars are going by and you see the lines behind the cars and you wonder, how do they do that? Well, they use a mode just like that one. Now, go on back up to the top. You've got your, let me turn the wheel here. You've got PictBridge right there. Hook it up to a printer and print. There's your movie mode. It will do up to 848 by 480 at 30 frames a second or 10 frames a second. That's pretty cool. It'll go as low as 320 by 240 as well. Now, we've got the manual modes. This is where you can really get creative, set your own shutter, set your own aperture right there with that. It's just shutter priority. You set the shutter, and the camera automatically compensates for the aperture, and vice versa here. You set the aperture, and the camera automatically compensates for the shutter. Now here's the program mode, and this is the auto mode. Now it has a little eye there. Now what this does is this intelligently adjusts the ISO depending on the movement. It has a motion detector, or depending on the lighting. So it helps you get good shots even in low light. I had decent success with this. The images at a certain ISO get a little grainy. Anything above 800 ISO gets a little grainy with most cameras. This camera has a very sturdy build. The door on the side, it feels very sturdy. A lot of these doors feel flimsy. This one does not. There's your AV out, USB, and also there's your AC adapter. Now on the bottom, there's your battery goes. It uses a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Comes out just like that. And right here, that is where your SD card goes. That can use everything up to the 8 gigabyte SD cards. There's where you mount it on the tripod. Now the flash on this, they've included a very functional flash. I had great success with this camera and using the flash. A lot of the cameras, they tend to overexpose the images. Sometimes the flash is a little too bright, sometimes it's too dark. This one seemed to be almost perfect. Now this camera features something that a lot of small cameras and hardly any cameras in this price range feature. It shoots in RAW. That is right, uncompressed images in the RAW picture format. This will let you do RAW, or will even let you do a RAW and a JPEG at the same time, because a lot of people, they put the images into the computer and Windows Explorer cannot view those RAW files. So it shoots a RAW file and a JPEG so you can see it in the computer. That is nice. And RAW files, they're way higher quality than a JPEG, because a RAW file is going to be like 15 megabytes while a JPEG is going to be like 3. You see what I'm getting at? There's a lot of compression going on in there. So the raw files look a lot cleaner. The colors are a lot better. Another thing nice about the raw images, when you shoot a raw image, you can always change the white balance later in Photoshop or in your favorite editing program. That's really handy because since it just captures raw information, you just go in and change it. That's really, really, really nice. All right, we got some pictures we're going to pull up here to show you the quality of this camera. Now, I shot a lot of these with the auto ISO adjust, and a lot of them I was taking at nighttime indoors without the flash. I like the ones that I took with the flash as well. Here's some of those. And also, here's a little movie sample of me playing around in front of the green screen. You know, Panasonic's come a really long way with these FZ series cameras. I remember the FZ5 and the FZ7, they had a little bit of a noise. I had a lot of experience with the FZ5. There's a lot of noise in the higher ISO ranges. They've gone in with this one and they've improved that a lot. So there's not as much noise. You still get it with the high ISOs, but you do that with any camera. That's just expected. Even with my professional digital SLR, I get a lot of noise at anything above 800 ISO. Another thing that's nice about this camera, the maximum aperture is f2.8. Now, if you're professional, you know that's a very good maximum aperture that produces some nice, pictures, especially with, this nice big lens that soaks up all that light. Plus, it's a Leica lens. That's all I really have to say about, if anybody knows anything about lenses, they know that Leica lenses are some of the best lenses in the world. So if you're looking for a camera and you're looking for a lot of features, the Panasonic Lumix DMC FZ8 is a great, great buy. Check it out at Tiger Direct. It's Logan. Send me some email if you got any questions. Logan@tigerdirect.com. I'll see you next time.